All right, Sarah Shaw here for another interview. I'm talking to Tabitha Frazier from Idlewild Every Day. I'm really excited, and she's one of my Retail Revolution clients. And I'm just going to have her introduce herself to you. So tell us all about your company.
Hi, I'm Tabitha Frazier. I own Idlewild Every Day. I make, I would call it custom heirloom quality jewelry. I'm based in Birmingham, Alabama, and I started in 2018. I incorporated in 2019. So I've been at it for a few years now. It's kind of hard to believe.
I know, and you're doing so well.
I, I
So
feel like I finally have the business working for me, which you helped me do that instead of me working for it. And
awesome.
that's
Can't ask for
exactly
more
what
than
I
that.
wanted. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's kind of rewind a little bit and talk about like what, you've been working with me for about a year. And so just want to talk to you about what your business was like before we met and how that was going.
Well, I think like so many, so I rebranded in 22. Let me just back up a little bit on that. So during COVID was its own monster, which I think we all know that if we were in business then too. And it was booming. I sold to a lot of online sellers then, which was just, it was craziness. And so I needed to rebrand for my family because I was working all the time. So we had to change gears as COVID died down. So that really was what kind of fueled that. And so I did rebrand in 22. And then it was like after I rebranded, even the market began for jewelry began to go into something really different too. Um, and like, Shein and all those other online things just opened up and it really changed my market. So I had to do some soul searching. I had to play around with some new things that I'd never done before. And so, I mean, I feel like maybe I was a little bit lost, just not quite knowing what I wanted the new brand to be. I had a vision, but I just, it takes a minute to get there sometimes when you're doing
Mhm.
a creative thing. And unlike some businesses that I know are your clients too, I'm the manufacturer. So I make my own. So I'm not big enough to draw or design things to have a manufacturer make for me. So I make from parts, basically. I'm a
Yeah.
maker. It just took a little bit, but I think what really how it was, I was in a lot of areas, I was spinning my wheels. And the biggest, most life changing thing for me and the business is you helped me with my markups, and I listened to you. Even though
Yeah.
it's kind of scary, that is the one biggest thing for me for my business that was the difference in it was night and day. It was
I'm
night and
so
day.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Well, so
before
so tell us a little bit about were you just selling online before we met, or were you also starting to sell wholesale to stores? Like, where did you get your money from?
I had a matter of fact, the other line I did almost exclusively wholesale. So retail was new for me with the new line. So yes, I've been wholesaling the whole time. So yes, I was doing both. But what you helped me do is I really leaned more into retail. And it allowed me to do that when I got my markups right. So I work less and I make more when I work. And that's what I needed and my family needed from me because
Sure.
I'm a mama to a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So, and that's priority for us. And my husband's a professional and he works a lot of hours and takes call and all that kind of stuff. So, we had to make it work for us long term for it to be worth us keep doing it. So,
Sure, sure.
but one of the biggest things I remember is I was kind of pricey for a low end jewelry. That's where I was just in my retailer space, and I remember you saying to me, you recognize that. And you said, if you change your markup, it's going to make you, it's another 20 or $30 or, 20 to $40, but it takes you out of that space. And Idlewild becomes not one of them.
Yes.
And I really hadn't thought of that because so many times it's just price, price, price. But it really was, especially since my designs are mine. You can't get them anywhere else because I
Sure.
make. Um, and people love handmade stuff or, hand assembled, handcrafted. So that really put me into a whole other, and then I'm low. I'm a great price now for the where I am, because I'm in the most of my pieces are under $100 for, water resistant, tarnish resistant, hand designed pieces that you can only get with Idlewild. So that really rocketed me. So I probably sell to less retailers, but I sell more.
They place bigger orders.
They do, and
Yeah,
I'm one of the top 3 sellers for the ones who are a match. And for me, that is a better fit for me.
sure. Less
It
people to
is,
ship to, bigger
yes, I
quantities to
touch less stuff.
manufacture.
Yes. Now, a little bit of a hole, not a hole I've gotten myself into, because it's so fun, but I do a lot of in-person stuff because, again, I'm in the SEC territory. So I sell a lot to sorority houses and stores that sell to them, and I go pop up, and I of course started doing the charm bar thing that is so huge.
Huge.
But it really has gotten me in the door at so many places because people get to talk to the maker.
Yeah.
And so, again, nobody else can do it is the only thing, but it's been super fun for me, and time wise it's worth my time. I make a lot of money doing it. Time wise, you know it's worth it. So
That's
um,
so great. So talk a little bit about like where you were financially before we met versus where you are now a year later.
it's been almost a year and a half, but I was paying the bills. I mean, basically I was paying the bills. I was not in the hole, but I just could not, I'd sell a season, and because of having the other line, I knew how to order, and, not to order too much supply and all that kind of stuff. But I just could not get just over that hump. I know so many people know what I'm talking about. And it was that markup. That was the difference.
What was the percentage that we marked it up?
Oh, let me
I
think.
just can't remember.
I'm thinking that it was like, at least, I think 25%. I think it
Yeah, I
may
was
have,
gonna say 20 to 30.
it was
Yeah,
significant. I think it was about 25%. Yeah, 20 to 30 according to the
yeah,
piece.
yeah.
And
That's great.
I know that not every industry can hold that. Jewelry can hold that.
Sure, of course, of
And so I
course.
was really just leaving it on the table and working for free because I wasn't paying myself. I don't work for free anymore.
Trying
And
to change all that. We want to bring in the money.
yes,
So
yes,
so what did you feel like when we started working together? Like you watched my video, you booked a call, we talked about it. You were like, okay, let's do it. Because I
I
remember you
did.
was like, let's sign me up right this second. And
Yeah.
then when we got started, did you feel nervous about changing those prices or excited or a little bit of both?
I mean, probably a little bit of both, but when you explained it that way to me, it just, the light bulb clicked, and I knew that that's what I had to do this long term. It made
Yeah.
so much sense. And honestly, almost a year and a half, I think it was April. So, and we're in August. It's been almost a year and a half. I would absolutely not still be doing it if I had not listened to you, because I would have gone another 16 months working for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have just walked away and go back
Yeah.
to PTA or something,
Yeah.
which is fine. That's free. So
Yeah,
I'm so glad, because it just helped. But not just that, it elevated my brand
sure, of course.
in the market, in the retail
Yeah.
space too.
And do you find when you go to these in-person events, because, I always say to people, only do in-person events if they make you feel good, if you make money there, right? There's nothing
Yeah,
worse than paying $300 to go to a show and you come home with $50, right? That's
right.
devastating, and a
Yeah.
waste of time and, we can spiral down on that. But when you go and you make money, like, do you find that people have price resistance at all? Do you sell everything at the same price as online, or do you offer some kind of incentive when you go to those events?
I don't. And typically it's full retail. Now, I do special things when I go to sorority houses. I'm dealing with college kids,
Yeah.
but it's all in my markup too. But typically it's full price. But that is the other thing, because I've put the time into it, and the branding and the personality, and it is a good quality. Again,
Yeah.
in the space where we are, there's not a lot of resistance, but I have learned to say no thank you to the things that I know are not my customer. That's
Perfect.
the other thing, and that has taken a year to figure out. No offense, but I can't spend my time doing that at your store. It's just not a fit.
No, sure, of course.
I've
Yeah, you have
learned
to, your time
to
is valuable. I
yes,
mean, you could be making stuff for a store instead of sitting there
exactly.
doing
And
nothing.
it took a while because when you're hungry, you want to do every single thing. And I just absolutely can't. I have enough now of people who want me to do those things that I have to say no some, which is a really nice place to
I
be after not being there.
Totally. Oh yeah, to be picky and choosy. And then also, coming into fourth quarter, I imagine you're going to be very systematic about where you go, who
Yes.
you're in front of, and how you spend your time um,
Yes.
with in-person events. And so how's it been like how many like what percentage more of stores do you think, are you still concentrating on wholesale, or has the retail just been so great that you don't need to do wholesale as much as you thought?
Yes, the latter. And I still do wholesale. I really only have maybe, I don't know, 35 stores or something like that. But the retail is so profitable for me that is just what I've leaned into. I love wholesale accounts, but I still just, the retail's so good.
And how do you get people to your site?
Well, I do lots on social media. I have all the setup when I do pop up that directs people the links. They can just click right away to the links and all that kind of stuff. And I do have a weekly email marketing person. So I watch that closely. She that has made me money from the beginning. But that is a great. It's not very costly to do it, in my opinion. And I mean, it's just been profitable from the very beginning.
So you have loyal
I'm
customers who,
employed, so it doesn't
yeah,
take much to cover it.
sure.
Typically one good order, and I've paid for them all 4 weeks of my average. So the email marketing's been really good for me.
And so you obviously have really loyal followers who
I do,
are
yes,
repeat customers or tell their friends get on your list, kind of. So it's a
yeah.
game of telephone sometimes.
Hmm. I
That's
have some
great.
great customers that reorder like literally almost every month. So I love that. They just add to the collection. So
That's
that's the other thing is I've learned how to keep new and fresh things for the people who do literally want a new piece every month because they're professionals. One of them's actually a banker, and so I have that kind of stuff, pearls and mixed metals and just kind of simple everyday jewelry, but it's a good quality and it doesn't turn, and people love that. So yes, so I've learned to kind of, and I'll send. We don't do it every time, but every few weeks we'll send a 25% off to those people because they are so loyal. Actually, a secret that I do with people who order very regularly is they get some kind of little surprise piece for free every time I ship to them. I just can't help it. So
yeah,
they may order this, and I keep track of like what little hoop I sent them. I sent them a matching hoop or whatever, but it builds loyalty, and
of
it's worth it.
course.
It's worth it for me to do that. People love it.
Sure.
It's your little gift.
Yeah, I mean, gift with purchase is, has been around forever. And I think people don't think of that as something that that builds that same loyalty and also credibility for you as a designer, right? Hey, we've noticed that you're one of our loyal shoppers and that you are one of our monthly people that come back on a repeat basis. So we want to reward you. And it also, if they've never bought, let's say they only buy necklaces or bracelets from you, because they always wear a pair of pearls they
Their
got.
own. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that when you start to send them things that are, that coordinate with what they buy, it totally can change their relationship to you and pull that switch.
It's funny you say that too, because that is one of the avatars for my customers. I don't sell a ton of earrings because my people typically have some kind of genuine earring that they wear. I mean, that is my average customer. You know what I mean? They either have studs or a pearl, or so I don't sell a ton of earrings. So, but I've learned that. I've learned how to handle that, but that took some
Yeah,
time to do. So, but
yeah.
you also talk about paying attention to all that too, where you don't keep trying to push it. My customers mostly necklaces.
Yeah.
So, and bracelets or necks and earrings are last, but you teach that about you learn that so that you don't keep putting I don't keep putting my inventory into that. It takes forever to make. I hate making earrings anyway, so it's okay. There's very
Yeah,
cheap to me.
right.
So
You don't want to beat a dead horse if you're finding that necklaces are your number one seller, coming up with 20 new ones or whatever you do every month for those repeat customers is where the money is. Uh,
yes, that's
and the
right.
more, I think the more that you, as your business grows, I would assume that you find that your internet buyers might be a certain type or style versus the stores that you sell to might do a little bit of earrings, bracelet, necklace, and that the layout's a little different in
Yeah.
both of those departments. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think your biggest win is so far?
My biggest win. Oh gosh. I mean, just raising that price. I can't argue with that. If she's telling you to do that, listen. I'm scared, I promise. But I
Yeah,
mean, really, it literally was almost overnight. I did it in April. I'll never forget. We had gone on spring break vacation, and while we were there, I was editing the photos and getting
yeah.
ready for the spring line, and I just marked them right on up with that big old. It felt so big, you know, that 25% whatever increase, but and I just came right back, and it never skipped a beat.
Yeah, I know. I
No,
remember you sent me an email maybe a
yes,
couple months in and said that
yes.
your average order value, I think, was up like 46% or
It
something.
was 40 something percent. And I mean, it never skipped a beat. I think it just went up. I mean, I have months that aren't as busy like any other
Sure.
business, but I mean, I feel like overall it just elevated the line too. It took me out of a space that I just did not need to be in.
Of course. Yeah.
Because a lot of that space that I was in was a little bit more resale space, quite frankly.
Mm.
And my stuff's not that. So
Oh, not at all.
it helped me get out of that. So yeah, that's the biggest win. It really transformed the business. I was
Yeah.
like beating a dead horse before, really. I was. And
Well, and
that
it
was
puts you in a whole different classification, like what you were saying earlier, right? That it put you from kind of more low end into a higher level in that close to $100 range, instead of, whatever it was, 60 or 70.
hmm
Sometimes it's hard, I think, for people to believe in the value of things when they're not worth when you're not paying what it's worth, right? It's kind of the difference, right? Between you were saying between like Sheen or something like that versus what you can get that's handmade by you, that's created, that you're not just getting stock stuff from China. And,
exactly.
and
And
that makes that huge difference.
yeah.
Um,
And my husband's my business partner, and I can remember discussing it with him, and of course he goes, "Well, I'm glad you paid someone to tell you that because I've been saying that the whole time." Like, yes, I needed someone to tell me that other than you.
Yeah,
That is
you're
funny.
welcome. Oh,
The biggest win was listening to you about the pricing structure
that's
and the
so
market.
great. So
Yeah.
great. So is your plan to kind of just keep going on the path that you're on now, or do you feel like you're ready to start adding more stores, or does your ratio kind of feel good to you? Or if stores find you, you won't say no, but
Of
I don't
course.
know.
Well, actually,
Actively.
I did the other day because I have learned, yes, I want more stores, of course, because that is just, I'm prepared for it. It's easy to add more stores now, but they have to be, I am in a nice place. They have to be a fit. I
Yeah.
had one the other day and they just weren't a fit. And that's just a waste for both of us.
Yeah. How did
So
you know you weren't a fit?
I was able to go online and look at their other jewelry offerings. That's the number one thing right there. And their shoes too. I look at all their accessories. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just a great way to see what else they're selling.
sure.
And so it just wasn't a fit.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to
Gives you
be
a
and I don't want to be either. So that
Yeah,
just
of
yeah.
course. Well, because it gives you a sense of their avatar, right? If they're wearing
Yes.
$14 handbag, they're not going to be buying your
Yes.
jewelry. Yeah,
Yes.
or
I have done a new thing this year where I've gotten a license by the Panhellenic because again SEC with all the sorority stuff, and that's a new door that I'm kind of stepping through a little bit because there's a lot involved with it, but so far it's been worth it.
What
So
does that give you? Just so people can understand.
yeah, so it is being able to legally sell the sorority necklaces with the
Yeah.
letters all together, and I make them, and there's and the stores can sell them, and they're licensed, and everything's on the up and up with that. So
Yeah.
that's yeah, so that's important, but that's kind of a new market. So I'm doing it through a store now, and we'll see where it goes. But it's done really well this fall. So
Oh,
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, so happy. Well,
that's
so what advice would you give to other business owners who are kind of in the same place as you know, before we started working together?
kind of. Really, no, I would before I decided to do the markup, I did go back over all my costs. So I think that is really important. You think you know what your costs are, but they change so often. So I quarterly I go back over all of my, my clasps, my jump rings. Is there anywhere I can get them cheaper? And I do that quarterly to, to make sure that my formula, that I'm not missing something by the
Yeah.
end of the year. Because it's easy. If you miss $1, then once you do your markup, you're out, $10 before, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Stuff on the table. So that is, again, pricing just, I got it really tight working with you. And I think but I think a lot of small business owners don't, because
Mhm.
it's a little bit labor intensive and you have to keep on top of it. It's easy to think, and you forget about, oh, what about when I use that special jump ring on that design? Those cost almost $1 a piece from the manufacturer. It's the
Right.
little things. And you can't forget to put it in your formula or you
Yeah.
leave money on the table.
Yeah.
So really being cognizant of all that type of thing.
Yeah, it does really change your bottom line in the
Mhm,
end.
mhm,
Um,
absolutely. So
yeah.
I feel like I've talked about price a lot, but that was my greatest need.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone's got everybody I talk to has their greatest need. And I think that making sure that your pricing is accurate is the linchpin to a successful business.
Yes.
Because if you don't know your actual costs, you're not priced well for wholesale or retail, you're the only one who's missing out. Right? Because
Yes. You're
nobody else
working for
along the
free.
way is
Yeah.
gonna forgive any kind of margins, right? You go to stores, they need their margin. And so if you're underpricing your products and undervaluing yourself in a certain way at the same time, right? Then it's only you that misses out. And I think a lot of women, if I might be so bold as to say, that
Yeah.
we often will just, give things away at a lower cost because we don't feel that people can afford to pay for it. And that we
Right.
want our stuff to be out there and be accepted, and we want
Yes.
that. And I mean, I was guilty of the same thing when I had my first line, because I was like, wow, why would I wouldn't pay that. And I think we can get caught up in, sometimes we're not our best customer, right?
Right.
Like there were times I'd be like, I don't even wear any of my bags anymore,
Yeah.
and or I never wore my signature bag. Like that just wasn't my thing. I wore it in the beginning, I showed people, and then that was it. I was done. I moved
This is
on.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I have
so
a product right now that is literally maybe all my profit for the year. Like I'm selling that much of it, but it's not my favorite.
yeah,
My stores had to make me do it. And of course they're fabulous because I always want to do something
yeah.
different, but they literally had to make, like, we want you to do this. We want to see what you'll do with it, but I just didn't love them. So I didn't want to do it. So you do have, you have to get past that. It's not, what does my customer want though?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And,
And not
and
what other people are telling you. It's to
yeah,
really be connected with that product, right? Because if you don't feel it, if somebody said, "Oh, would you make X, Y, or Z?" and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right, definitely don't do it. But
yes,
when you've got something that you've created that other people just love, and you feel like, wow, this is what my customers are asking for, it makes
yeah.
such a huge difference and can really change things. But
Absolutely. I think that's the other thing too, is I would say to make sure to take the time and do the psychology work, to learn your avatar,
yeah.
to learn your customer. And mine ranges from age 20 to 60. They all have so much in common, but the ages are really different.
Yeah,
I see the
for
moms
sure.
and daughters.
Yeah.
So again, that's an SEC thing too, but
Yeah.
you have to learn it. You need to know it really to get it right.
Yeah. Can I just ask one more question about that before I let you go? So
Yeah.
when, so talking about that, do you feel like you have to do in that big age range, 20 to 60, do you do different marketing? Do you talk to people differently? Or do you just kind of think they all like my jewelry, I'm going to speak to them all in the same voice?
Um, no, I do. I even on social media, it's according to what the piece is. I find myself, for the younger audience, it'll be really kind of sassy and a quick one liner because that's how they do social media.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I explain the metals a little bit more because that's going to be an older market. So I put both in there, and I really hadn't even really thought about that, but it's kind of subconscious, I guess, almost now. But yes, I do both. I do both.
Yeah. And do you post different on on Facebook versus Instagram, thinking
No,
Facebook skews
I do.
higher,
I do.
older, same?
Facebook is older audience,
Yeah.
fine, but I do the same. I do the same.
My kids are
Yeah.
like, never going to be on Facebook, mom. It's so old.
But they will. My girls said the same thing, and now that they're in college and getting out of college, they get a Facebook. They're
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Yes, I do, I
Yeah,
do." Yeah, but I'm
I
so glad I found you. And if you remember, I was at a wholesale show. Really quickly, how I found you is I saw your advertisement, and it was like a year went by, and I was at a wholesale show, and I was next to a brand that you worked with their owner, and I'd seen it in your advertising, and I was able to ask them about you, like, is this legit? Is this
yeah,
real? And they were like, yes. I mean, there's no guarantee of it's a process, but she's legit, and you can she's easy to access, and she's available, and all that. So I was able to check you out. So I'm so glad that I found you and was able to verify. And as soon after that, probably within, I don't know, a month or whatever, that I contacted you.
I'm so glad. It's so exciting for me to like watch people blossom and be successful. And I mean, you've totally changed your whole life, which is great. I mean, you're being able to spend time with your family, make more money at
Yeah.
work, be more
Yes.
succinct with what it is that you're
Yes.
manufacturing and all of that. It just sounds so luscious and scrumptious.
It is. It's right where we need it to be, and it is sustainable long term now.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was important to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
So
course.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to whoever booth you were next to. Um,
Yes. Makeup junkie.
yeah.
Makeup
And
junkie.
thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for talking to me. And I will look forward to catching up with you another time.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Sarah.
And I just want you to tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, on my website is idawildeveryday.com, and I have a list. I have a page for stockists on there, so where you can see where I am in person.
Yeah. And are those your social handles too?
Yes, those are, yes, easy to find.
Easy
Idlewild
to
every
find.
day.
All
Yep.
right.
Yes. Definitely.
Well, I'll let you get back to selling and we'll catch
Yes.
up in another time. All right,
Perfect.
Tabitha, thanks so much.
Thank you.